Hello and welcome back to another episode of ESPN's Football Forecast, looking ahead to the big one, the final at Wembley of Euro 2020 between England and Italy. I'm delighted to say I'm Hugh Wilsoncroft firstly. Why wouldn't you be happy about that? But I'm joined by James Olcott and Gabriele Marcotti to look ahead to this game, which I think, Gab, is going to be sensational. What are your feelings, an Italy fan, of course, going into this? Because James and I, I'm sure, will share ours being England fans.
I think overall, based on the tournament, I think there's a sense that Italy had two objectives going into it, and Italy have achieved both of them. They wanted to play really attacking football, take the game to the opposition, and just be fun and pleasant and without drama and whatever. And they've certainly achieved that. They, other than the Spain game, and there's reasons for that. I thought they played really well, and they generally outplayed everybody they faced. So that, box ticked. And the other box, because results do matter, the other goal was to reach at least the semifinals. And obviously they've gone one better than that. So I don't want to say they're playing with house money. And I think going into it, I think they feel that they can beat England, and, typical thing, you come this far and you want to do it. But for me, regardless what happens, it's going to be a very, very positive tournament, and a really encouraging sign that, you can change things in football, even at national team level. You can go in a different direction despite not having all the resources that you would have as a club manager.
Yeah, I've found it just so unique watching Italy. I don't think they play like anyone else, and I think that's why they've been such a joy to watch throughout the tournament. One thing that did just pop into my head, Gabriel, was Mancini. Now that we talk about Southgate constantly, and with most managers in tournaments, you are defined by those tournaments and your stock goes up or down. I just wonder, what was the feeling around a Mancini generally prior to this tournament, and what is it? What do they think about him now? What do the Italian people think of him now?
So I think I can't generalize and speak for 60 million people, obviously, but I'm going to try anyway.
Yeah.
I think, look, Mancini's was considered a very good manager, a very good tactical manager. Somebody who was, could be a little bit superstitious at times. Somebody who, he himself has said he is naturally an introvert who forces himself to be a functioning introvert. In other words, work with others, because that's what you do, or you have to do if you're a leader. It's not the image of Mancini that many people have here in England, who are, I always kind of think it's a little bit odd that the guy did win City's second ever title in dramatic fashion and brought silverware. And then, I don't want to say he was subjected to a character assassination by the City press office, but they made sure that every strange foible of Mancini's was underscored and emphasized and so on. I think people kind of left it there. What I find interesting about him is that he's really one of those managers who's not wed to a style of play. He's played every single way at the different clubs he's been at. There have been times when he's been very defensive and counterattacking. We saw a little bit at times at City, despite having very talented players. We saw that at Inter some of the time. We saw him play freewheeling attacking football at Lazio, occasionally at Inter, and occasionally at City, I think, and also with the national team now. So, and I think there's a reason for that. I think the reason is that, Mancini, I think, is far and away the most talented footballer among the managers who've coached the national teams. He's one of the most naturally gifted.
More than Gareth. No.
I posted this list before, and I put Mancini against Shevchenko, put him ahead of Shevchenko. I had Shevchenko second, and people were like, "Oh, what do you mean?" But Sheva, I'm like, come on, we're talking about natural talent. This is a guy who was, when he was 16 years old, he was starting in Serie A. Okay, he started nearly every game in Serie A as a 16-year-old. This does not happen in Italy. It doesn't really happen anywhere. And he scored, I think it was 9 goals that year at a time when Serie A was super defensive, right? He's a guy who's been told, you're the greatest, you're the best, you're the most gifted, and really bought into it throughout most of his playing career. And then he realized when he started coaching, he said, most players aren't like that. Most players can't do what I can do naturally, what comes so easily to me. Most players can't see. It's a little bit, I've heard stories of Glenn Hoddle facing the same issue when he started coaching. Was it at Swindon he was coaching before Chelsea? And so he kind of had to unlearn his vision of football, learn a different one. And the reason Italy play this way is he looks around Europe and he says, with the possible exception of Atletico Madrid, maybe Juventus a little bit, every other top side in Europe plays attacking, proactive football. Every other side tries to combine possession with pressing, tries to commit people forward. And so we need to play like that with a national team. This is what modern football is about. And that's why I find it interesting that Southgate seems to have the opposite view, because Southgate looks at, okay, that might be true for club football, but we're talking international football. France won a World Cup playing very defensive football. Portugal won the last Euros playing defensive football. So maybe this is what I need to do with England to win the tournament. And to me, this is one of the most interesting themes about this final. Like, these two managers are coaching this way for a reason, and it's a reason they believe in, and they've both been rewarded with runs to the final.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.